Hey guys, it's me and Amelia back with another video. I'm gonna share a little bit of my testimony. I shared it before, but I had to delete the video for reasons. But yeah, so here it goes. I am from upstate New York. Wasn't really born in a church like that. My parents um, did not stay together. My mom got married to somebody else. My childhood was not the worst, but it was not the best. I did go through some trauma at home. My mom did the best she could. She worked very hard. But there is things that happened that really affected, me and my brother growing up. So, yeah, I just did not know what to turn to because I did feel like I was facing some depression growing up as a young kid. And then it definitely did hit as an adult. It's crazy, right? Um, but yeah, like I always felt like an outcast, didn't feel like I belonged, um, could not really read. Um, I was in the third grade and they called me to read and I could not read. I was put in special ed classes, and if any of y'all have ever experienced that or know somebody that experienced that, it is a very traumatic experience. Um, my mom could not help me because she was always working. That's just how it was. I was struggling, but I didn't know who to turn to. I didn't really want the help because I was kind of in denial that I was struggling with my learning. And it was embarrassing to walk with your friends 1 minute and then gotta be like, oh, see you later, gotta go into my little special ed class. That was traumatic. That was a traumatic experience, being made fun of, all those things, right? Um, but I always believed in God. I just did not know how to truly turn to Him because I did not see those examples growing up. I heard my family members talk about God. I would see us pray sometimes, but I didn't see anybody. Sorry guys, I'm trying to like stand a little so y'all can see me, but it doesn't matter. But I didn't see that experience. I mean, people reading their Bibles like that. I just seen them talk about God sometimes. I would go to church here and there, but not really. Um, you know, um, I was introduced to porn when I was 9 years old. I went to a friend's house and I was exposed to it. Traumatic experience led to seeking pornography, masturbation, all these things. Became a teenager, smoking, drinking, doing all these things, right? Trying to fill these voids that only God can fix, right? Um, and I would run to these things. I would run to these things because it just filled these voids that I wanted to ignore. I wanted to ignore my trauma. I wanted to ignore what I was going through. So I would continue to run to these things. And I remember when I was 17, um, my parents just said, listen, we're moving to Florida. And that's a whole other story. We moved back and forth to New York to Florida so many times. But we're moving back to Florida. You can either stay here or you can come with us, right? My goodness. That I did I say to myself, I had a talk with God and I was like, even though I didn't, read the Bible and stuff like that, I was like, if I don't leave, I may never change, right? So I went to Job Corps. My mom helped me get into Job Corps because obviously school wasn't working out for me. I mean, I would get into fights. I just, again, felt like an outcast. I felt like none of the teachers believed in me. I didn't even believe in myself, right? I didn't believe in myself. Um, wasn't picked first. Was very ignored. Um, yeah, so when I went to Job Corps, there was this Jehovah Witness named JoJo. I would never forget her. She would come to me and ask me to do Bible studies with her. And of course, I said yes. And her light shined so bright because her desire and her love for God was like, she wasn't playing no games. Like, she would come and talk to everybody about God, but she would not participate in sinful ways. Like, I would go and drink and hang out with my friends, and she would be about God. She would go to her room, pray, and I would just look at that and be like, I really admire what she's doing, but I don't understand how she's doing it. And at the time, I had this boyfriend, and I was not trying to give him up. It was a toxic one, and she would tell me, like, you guys are going in two different directions. He's no good for you. Um, and so I didn't want to give him up because I felt like he was all I had. And when you don't have that proper love growing up, you think that any relationship is real love, and it's not. And so, um, fast forward, I graduated Job Corps, and I remember things just started kind of falling apart. And I know I said like a prayer, God, if people are not for me, take them out of my life, right? And little by little, he was taking everybody from me. Um, and I literally had no friends to turn to. Like, the friends I thought I had were, dropping me and not talking to me. And it was just so weird. Like, and I couldn't get a job. I got a car, I had bought a car, and I could not pay for it. Um, it was just one thing after another. And me and my boyfriend had broken up at the time. It was very depressing because it was so toxic anyways. We were both toxic for each other, not healed. Um, but I remember JoJo, she would still call me and have Bible studies with me. And I remember when we got off the phone one night, I felt like God was telling me, like, you cannot keep trying to live this lifestyle of sin and make it to the kingdom. You're not going to make it if you keep living in the sin. I love you, but I can't love you. He's like, I love you, but you're not going to be entering the kingdom. And I did not want to believe when he said that, because, like, who doesn't want to make it to the kingdom, right? We want to live in sin and we want to make it to the kingdom. It doesn't work that way. So fast forward, I was in this deep depression, was contemplating how to kill myself, felt so like worthless, just felt like nobody cared, nobody loved me. It was just terrible. And I remember my mom just stormed in the room and she said, get up and stop letting the devil take control of you. And it was like a big light bulb came on, and I'm like, the devil is taking control of me? It's like, we want to believe in God, but we don't want to believe that there's a devil, right? So I got on my knees and I repented, and I was crying, and I was like, Jesus, please forgive me for all of my sins, right? And it was like a big burden that just came off of my shoulders. It like came off of my shoulders. And I just felt so free. Like, I just felt so free. And I felt like every burden that I just felt at that moment was gone. It was just gone. And God was telling me, like, I know you never felt like you were good enough. I know you felt like you was never smart enough. And I know you feel like you're worthless, but I'm going to use you and I'm going to love you, right? And it was like this joy that I could not explain, and this love, this overwhelming love that I could not explain. And I was just so happy. I didn't care if I didn't have no money. I didn't care if I just didn't care if I was like, this love, this joy right here, this is it. With all that stuff that I was chasing, all that stuff I was doing is not it, right? And it's in a continued journey. It's, we don't arrive that day, but you do start to shut off those old ways and you leave them behind. And it's all because of God's grace over my life that I'm able to do these things. I could not do these things by myself, right? And it's a continued walk. So I just want to say to you that I don't know your circumstance. I don't know what you've been through, right? But if you give your life to Jesus and you repent and you ask him, Father, give me the desires of your heart, he will fill those voids, right? He will heal your broken heart. It doesn't matter what people told you. You don't have to keep up with the Benjamins, honey. You don't have to be the smartest person in the world, right? You don't have to have it all together, but God can still use you. He can still use you. People may throw you away. Yes, I have been thrown away. I have felt worthless, right? but God will show you that you are worth it, right? And through his blood, through his son's blood, right? He will show you that you, okay, are more than a conqueror, okay? If he could do it for me, he could do it for you. And yes, it doesn't mean that this walk is always going to be sunshines and butterflies. No, you're going to be going through a roller coaster at times. Sometimes you're going to be at the best highs of your life, and sometimes you're going to go through stuff. Okay? But that's just what it is. So you want to be fulfilled. You're looking for all these things to fill you up. It's Jesus. It's Jesus. It might not sound fun and it might not be the hype and it won't be cool, right? Let's just put it like that. It's not cool. But the answer is him. He's the only one that can fulfill you. So give your life to him. I hope this testimony helped you. And I hope y'all have a blessed day. Okay? All right.